Welcome to Red and Yellow, the podcast about all things to do with refereeing at grassroots level, looking at the laws of football, speaking to guests, and trying to help you become a better referee, with Adam Humphreys and me, Ed Connell.
Hello, it's Adam here, and welcome to this episode of Red or Yellow. I just wanted to jump on here before the episode started to remind you to please send us in your questions about anything refereeing, and that way we can hopefully help you improve your game, as well as help all of the listeners improve their games as well. It's always nice to hear your opinions and views on things, so please send those in. You can do that via email, that's redorYellowpod@gmail.com, or find us on Instagram, it's at redorYellowpod. Added to that, if you would subscribe to the podcast, that would mean an awful lot to us. And then that way, our meandering chats about refereeing will magically appear on your phone whenever we release a new episode. And lastly, all views expressed on this podcast are that of myself, Adam Humphreys, and not that of Football Queensland. Now that's all done, let's get on with the show. Well, hello and welcome to our Red or Yellow special Q&A episode, which is a new thing we're doing where we're going to try and squeeze in as much content as we can into your week. And it gives us a bit more time and space outside of the normal episode in order to be able to help you, coach you, answer your questions, and hopefully get a bit more kind of practical refereeing advice out there, which is something we're both really passionate about on the podcast, and we felt like we just needed to find more space for it in the schedule and on the feed. So welcome, thanks for joining us, and thank you for submitting your questions if you did. If you haven't, then you need to go to our WhatsApp community. The link is in the show notes. Join that, and then you can submit questions whenever you feel like it to ask us anything you want about football, refereeing, us, our careers, anything you want, and we'd love to get in touch with you. Got anything to add, Ed?
Yeah, only that people can get in touch with us, as always, through the other social media channels. So we're on Twitter, we're on Instagram, and our email address, Adam, is redorYellowpod@gmail.com.
Correct. I'm like, is it? Yeah, it is, yeah.
So, yeah, you don't have to get involved in the WhatsApp community, but I think we've sort of said before, it's a really good way of getting involved because not only is it a sort of easy way of getting in touch with us, it's a nice way to sort of make contact with other referees. We've got regional WhatsApp groups as well. So if you're, depending which part of the world you're in, you can be speaking to referees perhaps in your part of the world, although, as we've commented many times before, most of the problems that referees face are pretty universal, so they can be dealt with by everybody. And as Adam says, this is kind of one of the bits of the podcast we like most of all, because the laws are all pretty definitive, and there's only room for some interpretation of some of them. But a lot of the, there are things which obviously are subject to a bit of debate, and there isn't always a yes or no answer. And it's quite nice to sort of hear your views on certain topics and give us a chance to give you our views as well. So some of these episodes will be short, some will be long. The Q&A ones, it already depends on how many questions you send in to us.
And how many glasses of wine Ed has had.
Or old fashions if you're drinking in the evening as well.
Absolutely.
Right, let's go. Which one do you want to start with, Adam?
Should we start with the email we got from Adam Thackeray?
Yes.
Because it's a nice email, isn't it? Yeah. So
it is
Adam Thackeray.
I was just going to say, actually, before you start off, we should say thank you very much to those people who correspond with the podcast who aren't posing questions. They're just simply sort of giving us feedback, which obviously everybody can do by giving us a review, hopefully a 5-star review on wherever you get your podcast. But it's just, honestly, it's so nice for us because we obviously done this hoping that it's going to, be entertaining, of use to people. And it is so heartening to get emails or WhatsApp messages just from people saying how much of an impact the podcast has had for them, particularly from grassroots referees. It's really, really nice to get those messages, and it kind of reminds us as to why we spend this time doing it. Sorry, I just wanted to sort of put that out there.
No, absolutely right. I couldn't agree more. So Adam says, afternoon, guys, or morning, Adam. Just wanted to send a question over by email as it may have been missed in the WhatsApp thread. Firstly, thanks for being in the group, Adam. It's been a while since your last broadcast. Yeah, sorry about that. I'm finally up to date on all recordings and itching for the next installment. Only my second year officiating and at the ripe old age of 50, but was pleased to be chosen to referee a finals day at Aveley FC last season. Really appreciate all the advice and real life examples which have occurred and helped me put the advice into practice. Keep up the good work. Oh, isn't that lovely? So
It's
the
nice.
first question. Hi, Adam and Ed. This is not so much a question, but more of a maybe a tip to referees, depending on your thoughts. Refereeing on 16 game on Sunday in the Essex Echo League between West Essex and Abbey Youth. The game was going okay, a few moments from the away manager, overruling the parent linesman, but nothing serious. As the game got into the second half, I didn't give a foul as player A was leaning back into player B. Player B moved out the way, and player A's momentum took him to the ground. At this point, one spectator shouted, "Ref, how do you miss that?" To which I looked over, heard my whistle up, and said, "Do you want to have a go?" Now, I've used this line a few times, and the response, there has it been a response. Now, I've used this line a few times, and the response, well, there has been a response. However, on this occasion, the spectator replied, "Yes," as the ball was out of play. I took a condor moment and replied, "That's great. Come and see me after, and I'll show you how to join online and get involved." At this point, the spectators around him started laughing at him, and he said no more. After the game, I was walking off the pitch. A spectator approached me with a smile, shook his hand, and we laughed it off. Sadly, he didn't want to get involved, but my question is, you've advised that we should show authority on the pitch at an early point of the game. Does that also transfer to receiving grief from spectators? Obviously, in a professional game, it's ignored, but when there are only, say, 30 to 50 spectators, is this wise? What I will say is, after that point, I didn't receive any comments from anyone. In fact, a few parents said, "Thanks, ref," as I left the field. On a side note from previous questions, Essex FA haven't come back to me on the wearing of metal studs on the 4G pitches or general use of vanishing spray. Yeah, I wouldn't use metal studs on 4G pitches. I'd say that that's an easy one to deal with. And vanishing spray, I'm not sure we need to be using that in grassroots football personally. But
No.
spectators, how do we deal with them?
So my instinctive view on this when I read that email was well, there are two things I thought. Firstly, I kind of thought to myself, I'm not sure you want to be getting involved in sort of banter with the crowd. That's my sort of instinctive view. Because I think that could very easily get a bit out of control if people shouting from the sidelines think that it's an interactive sport that you're then going to answer them. And the second thing is, I appreciate what he was trying to do there and sort of create a bit of sort of humor and make something slightly light-hearted, but I kind of felt when I read it that there's a danger that maybe undermined your authority because what they're basically saying is you're no good and I can do it better, and even though you sort of even in a jokey way turn around and say, well, okay, go on then. I kind of, I don't know, just made I sort of flinched a little bit because I suddenly thought to myself, does that make you sound as though you're agreeing that you don't know what you're doing either, and somebody else who's not qualified is better than you? So that was my, and I know that might sound a bit critical. It's very easy to say the benefit of the hindsight, that to take that start. I think what he was trying to do is something which we both do, which is, you do speak to people, and there is place for sort of humor on the pitch. I get that completely, and I think I said before, and I think you said before, you will engage in sometimes with a bit of banter with the players, and I'm all for that. I'm just not sure I'd have done it in this sort of situation. It's my personal view.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I get
I
it.
don't know. What do you think?
I think it's one of those, like, this time he got away with it, and it seems to me like he handled it well in that particular situation,
Yeah,
with that particular context and with that particular spectator. Now, you could go out there and not get that particular spectator in that particular situation and have a whole heap of trouble on your hand. And also, what happens if he goes, right, then I will, and then he steps over the line, and he
yeah,
wants to take the whistle off you, like. And I know it sounds ridiculous, but people would do that just to prove a point against you. Like, they would do that. So, and then you've got a whole safeguarding issue, and then it's not easy. I think I understand, like, he's clearly a confident, jovial man who is trying to do the right thing in a situation like this, and
yeah.
that's great. But it's just not a one size fits all situation, I'm afraid. I mean, have I ever got involved with spectators? Like, only when there's been like something. Only in a youth game, and
Yeah,
only in a situation where I thought it could end up causing danger for the
me too.
players. That's
It's
the only
exactly
time
this
I'd get involved.
situation.
And the only
But
time I'd get involved there is I would give them one chance to walk away, or I'm picking the ball up and leaving the field. And I give them that one chance because I don't want the kids to suffer for the idiocy of an adult. But yeah, I think I remember doing it once. I was at Fairlock Porters in East London, and yeah, some parents were just being absolutely ridiculous, and so I walked up to the home bench and I went, look, I'm if those people don't go away, like literally, I want to see them walk away. Game's over. And it was a semi final of some cup competition. I'm like, you're not going to abandon this. Watch me. And I got the result I wanted. But I think that's the only situation I've done that.
Yeah, I think my examples of it in the past have been. I can't remember whether they were youth football. I'm pretty sure they were, but there was a parent on the touchline who was repeatedly shouting out really stupid things like, hit him hard, or
Yeah. Punch him,
it was
hurt him.
it
Yeah.
was like, make him know that you're there, all sort of stuff
Yeah.
repeatedly. It was already being said aggressively.
Yeah.
And I think in that situation, I kind of went over and I said, either to the manager or maybe into the parent, and said, you need to calm down, or you're gonna have to leave the pitch. But I don't think, other than that, I've engaged in banter. Now, I get what he was doing here, and it comes with age and experience, and he's sort of similar age to me, and I'm not going to say that I would never ever reply to a bit of
Similar
banter.
age. He's like 6 years younger than you, Ed.
Say what? I'm worried about your maths, given that you've got to count goals and you're unable to make the difference between 50 and 52.
I don't count the goals. I get my ARs to do
it. But so I'm not going to say that I would never ever, if I was refereeing a Sunday league game and somebody shouted something sort of ridiculous from the touchline, I'm not going to say I would never turn around and say something sarcastic back, because I'm afraid that is just my nature. But I generally speaking, try and avoid it if I can. And I think as you've sort of,
The other thing I would say as well is like, yeah, this one foul, right? But you have that conversation about this one foul. Then what, you can have a conversation about this on every decision that person disagrees with you. It's just going to be too disruptive to the game. I think the best advice here is if you think it's going beyond the pale, then abandon the game and just walk away. And that's obviously the safest option. You can manage situations, and every situation like that is different. And that's up to you to judge in that moment. And who are we to say whether you're right or wrong in that moment? Because every single situation is different.
But as I say, I think my biggest concern about this is I could just it's all about keeping your authority. And I think there was just the danger this could have gone a bit wrong.
Yeah.
And your authority either was undermined, or there's a perception that you've lost your authority.
Yeah.
Because I think when you sort of say, fine, okay, someone says you're rubbish, I could do better, and you've got to go, albeit in banter, yeah, you're right, go on.
Yeah,
it's I don't know. But anyway, listen. This on this situation, we're not saying never engage in banter, and on this occasion, it all kind of worked out well.
Just be very careful.
Thing. Yeah, I think just be careful about engaging with,
especially during the game. Next one, Craig. Do any referees blow their whistle when a goal is scored?
Now, this is a great question. I think I answered immediately when they posted this in the WhatsApp
You were very
group.
cutthroat as well.
Was I? I didn't mean to be cutthroat. But no, it's interesting. When I first started refereeing, and in fact, for quite a long time after I started refereeing, I would blow the whistle every time there's a goal. And no one, I'm not sure if anyone ever told me that you should do it. I'd certainly never been told that you shouldn't do it. And instinctively, it was a significant event, and I marked that by blowing a whistle and pointing to the centre circle. But I remember when I was one of those occasions where I've said before, where I've learned most about refereeing, which is by refereeing with other more experienced referees, or being an assistant to more experienced referees. I very quickly learned, one of the things I picked up very, very quickly is referees don't use their, the good referees don't use their whistles for everything. And almost none of them use it to record a goal.
Yeah.
And, most situations, a goal is scored and the referee just starts backing away, heading back towards the centre circle. I tend to try and keep sort of walking backwards towards the centre circle so that I can kind of keep an eye on what's going on to make sure there's nothing untoward happening with celebrations or anything happening in the aftermath of a goal. But I don't blow for goals anymore. I think that I can't remember if I said this when I replied to it in the WhatsApp chat, but the only time in which I think I would do that is if, for example, you were going to award a goal where there was a quiz to whether or not it crossed the line or not. You've got to do something at that point to indicate that goal has happened to stop play. In which case, then I would give a very firm blow on the whistle and point to the centre circle. But generally speaking, I don't blow the whistle. So, what's your view?
Look, so much of it is about whether it's controversial or not. I completely agree with everything you said, to be honest. Don't have to, can if you feel like it. It doesn't need to be a loud blast. I think generally, you have to be careful. Like if like a potential foul has happened in the build up to the goal, then I'd probably advise not blowing your whistle because that's going to cause confusion. So probably not is best at times. It's only if it's like whether it's over the line or not, and you need to calm play down and then award a goal, just draw attention to yourself. That's kind of what it's used for, the whistle. The whistle is there to draw attention to yourself and to stop everything and to pause time. And so I think that's the best way to it. So I completely agree there.
Yeah. There we go. But anyway, it'd be interesting if everybody has any contributes, or in particular, it'd be interesting if anybody's actually told or taught that they should be blowing the whistle for goals. It'd be interesting to hear from you to see if there's a sort of rationale or explanation behind that. But I think I'd say if you go out and watch some more experienced, more senior referees, they use the whistle a lot less than you probably do on a Sunday morning. But
I think that's true. Yeah.
But very good question. Thank you very much for that.
Next one.
Which one? Yeah.
You got one?
No.
I didn't realize it was my job today. I haven't done any preparation. Surprise, surprise. I'm the questionnaire. Hang on. I'm on it. Here we go. Quick question. I wanted to clarify, is an own goal any time a player other than the attacking team are the last person to touch the ball before it goes into goal? Or if a ball is on target and a keeper grazes it, but it goes in, is it the attacker's goal? That's a good question.
It is, or I think the answer is, I think pretty straightforward. The way that the professional game records a goal.
Sorry, this is Mon as well. This was Mon who sent this in.
Oh yeah, thanks, Mon. The way the professional game records a goal is if a ball is kicked by an attacking team in the direction of the goal, and but for it being touched by anybody else, it would have gone in. But it then does hit somebody else and goes into the goal. It is recorded as a goal. That's the way the professional game works. So, by way of example, if you do a shot on target, it would have gone in. It then deflects off the leg of the defender and sort of wrong foots the keeper and goes into goal, not in the trajectory it originally had. It's still recorded as an attacker's goal, is my understanding. An own goal, by distinction, is where maybe, and so example of what we record as an own goal, corner kick comes in, it's not curving in to go into the goal directly. A defending player jumps up to head it, comes off the side of their head, and goes in. That would be the sort of clear example.
I wouldn't get too hung up on it if I was you, to be honest. I know like we have to say who the goal's to or whatnot. No one really cares that much, but I think my general attitude to it is if I think it was a shot that was off target and then goes in the goal as a result of hitting a defender, I'm going to give an own goal. Most of the time, I'm probably going to just give the goal to the attacker because they want the goals. No one wants home goals on their record. Like, that's it. Just move on. Like, I honestly wouldn't spend time overthinking it unless it's very obvious, and then you'll know, won't you? So it's not the end of the world.
Yeah, I certainly wouldn't get caught up in a complicated analysis of it because this whole thing again. One of our favorite phrases: what does the game expect? Right? Yeah. If a striker shoots to hit the ball and it takes slight deflection, don't get bogged down in, but on my analysis, it was heading a yard to the right of the post, but for the goal, but for the defender's leg touch it. No one's interested in that. People want to be recorded as scoring goals. People don't want to have own goals recorded against them. So kind of be pragmatic, give what the game expects. So yeah, that I think that's very sensible. Yeah. But it's a good question though.
It was.
Thank you, Mon, for that one.
Next one, Zed Atard sent this on Instagram, so thank you for that. Have a quick question about a rather difficult decision. The decision was a defender accidentally slips in his own box to prevent a corner kick. Both the keeper and the defender rush towards the ball. So defender slipped in his own box, and to prevent a corner, the kicker and the defender rush towards the ball. The defender arrives to the ball first, but when he tries to kick the ball out of the box, he hits it with a little power and it rolls to the goalkeeper. The goalkeeper then proceeds to take a touch, and then he picks up the ball with his hands. The referee didn't whistle for an indirect free kick, and this person's team thought it should have been an indirect free kick. What do you think?
Well, that to me doesn't sound like it should be an indirect free kick, because it sounds as though the player was kicking the ball or attempting to kick the ball.
Yep.
They haven't done it successfully. But that's not neither here nor there. That's not what the law is.
Yep.
And so for me, there was no problem with the goalkeeper picking it up, and I think it's a bit similar to that. We had a bit of discussion on the early shows about an incident that happened in a game. And I think we put the footage up online where a goalkeeper, do you remember, had tried to kick the ball. And in fact,
yeah, I do remember it.
There was some quite a bit of stuff online about it, about whether or not the goalkeeper was entitled then to sort of pick up the ball. But yeah, my view is the goalkeeper was fine to that. There's been an attempt to kick the ball, and that's sufficient as far as the law's concerned. Any thoughts on that?
No, it has to be a deliberate pass back. It has to be a deliberate pass to the goalkeeper. If it's not deliberate, don't worry about it.
Yeah, exactly. That's very, very straightforward.
Yeah. I think we've just had. I don't think we've just had one come in. I was just flicking through. Here we go. Sorry, we had one come in this morning from Robert. I love the podcast. Really helped me in my first steps in being a referee this year. My question is, what would you say would be the best pre-match sequence to follow when working as a team of 3 or 4 to keep appointed ARs engaged and cover all bases? And any personal golden nuggets you guys use in yours would be great. Excellent.
Really good question. And the nice thing about this question is, I think we both got valid observations to make from quite different perspectives.
Yeah.
You as somebody that's had far more experience of being the leader of a team of 4. My experience has been, although I've done that, I've got much more experience of being an assistant or a 4th official in those sorts of games.
Yeah.
So I'll give you my penny's worth, because I suspect, Adam, you've probably got much more to say on this topic.
Bucket load to say on this.
Yeah, I'm sure. But I mean, what I would say is the most effective sort of pre-match chats that I've had when I've been working as part of a team are those where I feel like I'm integral to the match. So I've never felt when being a sort of either an assistant or a 4th official to a much more senior referee, I've never felt that I was kind of there, but not going to be given any authority or responsibility, or that I was simply there to make up the numbers, or I never ever been involved in any briefings where I kind of felt, well, I kind of hear that I'm just here, but the referee's in total charge here. I'm not really going to contribute to this match.
Yeah,
I'm always most excited by the referees that make me feel as though I'm really important to the whole performance of the refereeing team that day. And it makes me want to be my best, because if you kind of think, if someone's impressing upon you, we're working this match together, and provided we work well as a team, that things are going to go well. And it then makes me really want to do my best. I kind of think, right, I don't want to let anybody down here. It keeps me super engaged, makes you think the whole time that, I've got a really valid role to play here. And I also really, provided that parameters have been set by the referee as to what my responsibilities are going to be, what area of the pitch I'm expected to give decisions in, and what he's asked me particularly to look for. I then feel kind of empowered then, and I know precisely what the parameters are of my what I'm doing. And that makes my job so much easier, because I know what he's asked me to look for, where he's asked me to look for it, and I don't get involved in other things. And so clarity about what your responsibilities are going to be, impressing upon me the importance of my involvement. Those, I think, are really the key points, I think, make for a sort of great pre-match chat from the perspective of somebody who's on the receiving end of it rather than giving it. Um, what would you say?
It's such a big topic. It is such a big topic. I love the fact that you take on that side of it. I love the fact that like hearing what you say about it as an assistant is really important because I think a lot of there's just so much to go through here. Like I could go through an entire pre-match briefing that I do, but I feel like that's kind of specific to each referee. I think what's really important here is referees themselves. I see so many referees just not command the room well enough and lead their team well enough when they're given a pre-match. Even when, you know, I'm there assisting them. Like it's they don't spend enough time. They've clearly not given enough thought to their pre-match. And they've clearly like they don't see it as the tool that it can be to help them in difficult situations when they need it to be. So my first bit of advice would be really do think about what do you want to say to your assistants in order to get the kind of feeling out of them that Ed was just describing, because that's what you want. You want your assistant to be able to run through a wall for you. Not run through a wall for you, actually, but you want them to be able to feel confident and empowered enough to come in and give you a great big decision when you need it the most. And that is critical to their role. I would say make sure you tell them what is most important for them that day. I mean,
Yeah,
how I structure it is I take them through basically the full 90 minutes. So I'll message them 3 days before kickoff and tell them what time I'm getting to the ground, what time I'd expect them to be at the ground, and see if there's anything they want to talk about or want me to look at while we're working together. So then straight away they think, oh, hang on, this is a guy who cares about my ability and my job as well. And if I can improve, if I can learn something from him, then great. And I tried to make it an open environment and kind of a fun environment for referees like that. Then my pre-match brief specifically would be how I'd expect, like what assistant I'm expecting to do what, like who's checking what team in terms of kit, in terms of
yeah,
jewelry, studs, everything else. So then talk them through how we're going to manage that whole situation. So they'll go out first to the dressing room, and I like to have a few minutes to myself to compose myself, let them go out, and then they can get the teams out and get them lined up and everything, and then I'll come and join them with the balls, um, and then we'll get ready from there. Then we'll walk out and we'll do the walk and everything, and I'll say to them as we're doing like the handshakes, make sure you're checking for jewelry again, one last check, and shin pads and everything. Because anything we need to deal with it then. That's what that's there for. And then I'll tell them to come in for the toss. We'll do the toss and everything else. And then I'll basically start on the goal line with them, and I'll take them through each decision I need them to give me. So I'll go, right, so I'm just going to work through, and I developed it this way because I'd often forget something massive and it'd be a real pain because there'd be no logic to the way I'd brief my assistants. So I'd go, right, the goal line. So what decisions we're going to have on the goal line? We're going to have a corner kick or a goal kick there, and I'd give them my instructions there. I'd then move them out to like penalties and what advice I need to give them on penalties. And basically the most important bit of advice you can get on penalties from assistant referees is whether it's in or outside the area. And that's kind of the most important decision they need to give you there. And then from there, goal kicks. I miss goal kicks. See, that's why I like to do it visually with the pitch in front of me.
yeah,
Goal kicks, I'd get the advice on them for goal kicks, what I'd expect from them. And I'd just go through the pitch like that. I think the most important ones are obviously talking through offsides, empower your assistants to give great offside decisions. I'd also empower them to say, when play's coming down the wing or whatever, I'm going to be saying to you, because we use comms, I'm going to be saying, this is you. I need you to take control of this. You call the fouls here and everything else. And I'll say that to you. I'll be like, keep an eye on this for me, keep an eye on this for me, keep an eye on this for me as I focus on something else in the middle of the pitch. I talk them through mass confrontations. You have to break every important decision down that they're going to have to get involved with and tell them exactly what your standard is for each decision and how you want them to work with you in that moment. The most important things I always tell my assistants is I have a list of 5. One is smile, make sure we have fun out there, because if you're not enjoying yourself, then there's no point. The other one is take your time. We have all the time in the world. I don't want any decisions quick. I don't care how obvious the throw-in is. I don't need your flag to go up without you getting my eye contact first, without you then confirming down below what to do and what not to do. and then we'll go up together, and we'll do that together, and we'll always do that together, because that builds confidence in our team, and then that will build confidence in the players, in our ability as a team of three. And when they see me looking for you for these answers, they're going to trust you on other bigger decisions. And when I trust you on those decisions, they're going to know that you know what you're doing, as opposed to see you as someone who's giving something contrary to what the referee wants against them. And that's really important. So smile lots, take your time, nothing quick, smile lots again, and let's have fun out there. And that's kind of the most important thing. Offsides are always my assistants and very important. But
it
like I
might be
say,
good,
it's such a
Adam,
big topic.
on not necessarily on an important game, but it might be interesting to
Record one. I did try once
because
upon a time, but it was really windy and no one heard it.
I think it'd be really interesting, because it's not one size fits all. But what I think it would do is it would just give people some ideas about some of the things that they perhaps aren't covering, or give them some other techniques as to how they cover them. Because I think it's really, really important. And what I loved about this question when it came into the listener question WhatsApp group is it got responses from people, and it was great. And it may be that we actually try and put together some of the other responses and maybe put some on social media, because someone called Jason Nurmi got responded straight away, and he then gave what his things were, what his priorities are. And then Dion Bradley responded and gave their tips as to how they do their pre-match routine. So I think it might be good, and it'd be interesting to hear from other people if they've got any other sort of ideas or things which they think should be covered. And at some point, if we could get you to record one of your pre-match briefings. I know you're a bit shy when it comes to the camera, Adam, but
you want me to actually record it with a camera? My God, I'm not sure I can do audio.
Yeah,
for sure.
we want a YouTube video out of this. We don't want just audio.
I'm not sure I can do that. That's not fair on the other assistants, you see.
They don't need to be seen. The assistants don't need to be seen. The camera can be on you throughout. And listen, I'm sure that you'll find some assistants who are more than happy to be on the receiving end of a briefing from you for a little bit of fame.
I'm not sure they would, to be honest.
I think it'd be really interesting. But yeah, no, I've always felt really, really valued as part of a team when I've had good pre-match briefings. And that then makes me want to just be the best that I can be, and it keeps me focused.
I think a big part of that is like you want to, you know, as the referee, you are the leader of the team, and you have to lead the team. That doesn't mean you're better than them. That doesn't mean that you're more important than them. That means that you have to lead them. It means that you have to bring them with you, and bringing them with you really does come from that briefing. Like, they know that you're in charge, they can have confidence in you, and then everyone else can. And also that makes them want to do a good job for you. Okay. Like you have to kind of impress them to a degree, and impressing them also comes down to your briefing. Like, if I've got ARs I've never worked with and we've got a big game that we're facing, I need to make sure that they know what they're doing, and I need them to have confidence in why I'm the person leading this team and it's not them. And all of that comes out in my briefing. And then I also take that onto the pitch. You know, I think that's important as well. Like, on the pitch, I'm always saying thanks to my ARs for their decisions, always saying great job, that's really good offside, thank you, appreciate it. I'm saying it loud and I'm using their names because I want everyone to know that I'm leading this team and they are with me, and we're going to nail this game together. Sorry, what was you going to say?
No, I was just going to say the slightly different thing in terms of the refereeing that I've done as part of a team is that you'll be refereeing with a team where you're going to have a sort of fairly consistent standard or level of assistance. Whereas when I'm doing sort of amateur grassroots competitions with sort of referees, as you know, before, that have come from all over the world, that you'll often be in a team of people where, you know, the levels are very, very different.
Absolutely.
And that's why it's so important for whoever's in charge, the referee, to make sure that they're sort of understanding of that fact as well. And so I probably need a bit more information given to me in terms of, you know, what's expected of me than might be expected of a level 4 referee who's running the line for you. But yeah, no, it's, as I say, it's not one size fits all, and there are lots of variable factors, but it's a good topic. We'll try and get some more information on it if we can.
Great question.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think that's probably it for the post
call
back
it a
for this
day.
week, isn't it,
I
Adam?
agree. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Good set of questions. Thank you,
Excellent.
everybody.
Yeah, thank you all for your questions. Keep them coming in. And for those of you that haven't reviewed our podcast, please do so wherever you get your podcast from. It'd be lovely to get some more 5-star reviews and to get some more positive comments. And anything negative you want to say, just send it to us in a private email. Keep it off the reviews.
These two referees
Right.
talk about fitness and they get drunk every podcast. How dare they?
Oh, dear. Anyway, right. Lovely to see you, Adam.
Likewise, my friend. Well done.
And speak to you soon.
I
Bye.
can't wait. Bye-bye. Thank you so much for making it to the end of another episode of Red or Yellow. You're clearly a very fit listener. May I gently remind you to like and subscribe to this podcast in your podcast app. That way, when we release a new episode, our meandering chats will magically appear on your phone. Also, if you've enjoyed this episode, please feel free to share it with one of your friends when they ask for a podcast recommendation. Word of mouth goes a long way, and no more so than yours. Don't forget, you can get 10% off any refereeing equipment that you might need if you head to processports.com and use the code RedOrYellow10 at checkout. Thank you so much for listening this week, and don't forget to follow us on social media. It's at Red or Yellow Pod, and please feel free to send us any questions that you may have via DM, or you can email redorYellowpod@gmail.com. We cannot wait to speak to you again very, very soon. Ciao, ciao.